was it not? It's Dark Avengers. Thunderbolts is one of those that it's been building for a while, and it's nice to finally seeing it starting to get confirmed.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And guys, in the chat, we will be doing super chats and stuff later. We have a good bit of questions that people sent us in on social media, so we're going to get through those. But we will answer super chats as well. So if you didn't know about this, if you're just coming in or whatever, you can obviously throw a super chat. We'll get to those towards the end. Okay, so first thing I want to talk to you about, my friend. So it has been reported that the Thunderbolts will be introduced in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I found that to be kind of interesting because I had assumed it would all begin in Black Widow. I'm actually super keen on a potential Thunderbolts post-credit scene in the Black Widow movie. I'm wondering if you share those thoughts and if you can tell us anything about what you've heard about the potential of a Black Widow post-credit scene starting that off.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that there are rumors floating around that there is one involved. Just rumors. I'm not saying this is a scoop or anything, but there's rumors that there is some kind of post-credit scene, possibly maybe involving Taskmaster and starting to set something up that will then lead into more of the Thunderbolts. Because we know Thunderbolt Ross is in Black Widow. So, but of course, it looks like a younger Thunderbolt Ross. But yeah, it's very, very possible there's going to be a post-credit scene, again, possibly with Taskmaster, that will start leading towards that. And then we'll get more of it in Falcon and Winter Soldier. And that's something that's interesting with the Disney Plus shows, how they're going to be using those to introduce new characters, concepts, places, ideas for Phase 4 and 5 and beyond.
Yeah.
So.
No, yeah, dude, I'm totally with you. I legitimately think, I guess I'll just go into my next one. The next one is like about Red Hulk, right? And so, you just spoke to it. Thunderbolt Ross is going to be in the film. It didn't take much, man. It didn't take much for the Marvel fans to start going down the Red Hulk rabbit hole. All we needed was to see that Everett Ross was indeed going to be in this film, right?
Yep.
But beyond that, there's some really interesting stuff. I think you kind of hinted at this as well in some coverage, that there are those red vials that Natasha has in the trailer. And so the thought process for me is like, okay, I do not think those are Pym particles. I think those are vats of Steve's blood, likely. And so do you think it's possible that in this film, that's going to play not only a role in that plot, but that is eventually what will lead to the Red Hulk, that those same vials that we see might lead to experiments by Ross on himself and then create the Red Hulk?
I actually, my personal idea, those vials, I actually think those are probably connected more to the Widow program. Okay. And that my theory is that Iron Maiden, Rachel Weisz is actually the villain, and she's trying to restart the Black Widow program. And those vials are connected to that, and she's probably taking those to Yelena for proof that, hey, look, someone's trying to restart the program. Because in the comics, the second origin of Black Widow in the comics, she was wasn't so much a super soldier serum, but she was genetically biotechnology modified in the comics, so to speak.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be surprised if they introduced something like that in the movie. But at the same time, I do think that they could maybe start building to Red Hulk, simply because if you go back to The Incredible Hulk, that movie, and a lot of people overlook it in the MCU, that movie introduced the super soldier serum before Captain America. So you know that Thunderbolt Ross has had history with that serum, and he saw, hey, wait, it didn't really work well on Blonsky. Maybe it'll work on me, and that's where we'll get to the Red Hulk.
Yeah, and I love that, and I would actually really like it if they did kind of, this would technically kind of be a retcon, I guess, but if they did establish something where Natasha had some of the super soldier serum in her, and perhaps even establish that had been a thing that had maybe always been the case, do you think that's what it is, or do you think that it's like a new thing for them?
It might be like we know there was a Russian version of the serum that Red Guardian was given, so it could be something similar to that. And they're going to start using those on the Widows. And we know they also did that with the Winter Soldier program. We had those other Winter Soldiers in Civil War. So this is something that has existed in the MCU for a while, and then we're probably going to see fleshed out a little bit in Black Widow.
But okay, I'll go into my next one here, and get your shots ready, Den of Nerds faithful, because we're talking Dark Avengers. I gotta do it, people. Okay, so here's where I'm at with it, man. I really want the Dark Avengers to be in the MCU, but I think really what I want when I say that is I want there to be a state-sponsored or like big team that is the biggest team on the planet, the one that everyone's talking about, while there is not an Avengers team. Do you think that that's what's going to happen with Thunderbolts?
That I don't know if it's going to be Thunderbolts, so to speak, but they absolutely set the stage for that because after Endgame, there's no Avengers.
Right.
After Endgame, they're wondering who will be the next, Tony Stark and stuff. So there's absolutely that void there for someone. I'm not saying it's necessarily would be Osborn, but someone to come in and say, "Hey, look, I have these Avengers, and we'll take care of things until they, invade New Asgard and cause all sorts of trouble." And
that's exactly it. I mean, that's exactly it. So I guess what I'm saying here is like, because some people are like, Josh, you're crazy. You know what I mean, for wanting that or for thinking that's possible. Yeah. So do you think that will it be the Thunderbolts? Will the Thunderbolts give way to the Dark Avengers? Do you think they will both exist? How do you see that going?
The Thunderbolts are more Thunderbolts are more like Marvel's Suicide Squad. Okay, so they're like Thunderbolt Ross's own little team, whereas the Dark Avengers had someone. You had Norman Osborn bankrolling them. Kind of different. The Dark Avengers are more like Dark Avengers, where it's a dark Tony Stark in the form of Norman Osborn bankrolling these people who aren't really heroes, so to speak.
Right.
But we have the Thunderbolts doing kind of like X-Force Black Ops type thing, like Suicide Squad. So I think they could coexist, and maybe Thunderbolts might lead into Dark Avengers. You might see some crossover of members between the two, like maybe Zemo ends up leading the Thunderbolts, but then he'll cross over to Dark Avengers, and you have other members who can do that easily, like Blonsky. If they bring back Blonsky, he could be in both.
Yeah, no, definitely. So you hear that, guys? I'm not crazy, and it might happen here. You can do all your confirmed clickbait articles and everything like that. So speaking of Norman Osborn, do you know anything about that? Do you think that they have access to him, or is he still wrapped up with Sony?
Well, I think he's still wrapped up with Sony, but I think they want him, and that so much so that they have done some things in certain scripts where a character could be Osborn, or it could be someone else, or it's just unnamed. And if they get Osborn, it could be Osborn. Right. If they don't, they call him someone else. I think they want him. I think, but Feige always has plans A, B, and C. So if that doesn't work, he goes to plan B. If that doesn't work, he has a plan C. So they always have contingency plans.
Well, because I know Feige has wanted him for a long time.
Oh, yeah.
The Osborn Tower was going to be in Avengers 1, right? And
the Oscorp Tower, that was a thing Sony was trying to do. It was going to be the Oscorp Tower from the first Amazing Spider-Man, but they didn't finish the design in time to get it in with the effects, and it was just going to be in the background. But it was absolutely going to be in the first Avengers in the background. It's just the Sony side didn't finish the effects in time.
Nice. So do you think the benefactor is sort of like their, hey, could be Norman, could be someone else character?
I think so, and there's a rumor that he is in Black Widow, possibly a post-credit scene. Whoever he is.
Oh, the benefactor, whoever they end up. Okay. Yeah. Very cool.
That's why I don't think that's Christian Bale, simply because the benefactor role was filming in Atlanta, whereas Thor: Love and Thunder is going to film down in Sydney. So, they already filmed the benefactor, whoever they cast him as.
Gotcha. Okay, that's cool. Are you on the train of the Minotaur? Do you think it's going to be the Rocks and?
I think that makes the most sense because it's very much like his role in American Psycho, and they'll take a role similar to that, but there's a twist to it, and then he turns into a giant Minotaur. And I think that makes the most sense simply because Taika has already started doing some of that storyline in Ragnarok, where they gave Gor's powers to Hela, and he likes that storyline. It fits very well. Jason Aaron supports it. That's the one that makes the most sense out of any of the speculation.
Yeah, cool. I mean, I'd be into that. I don't really know too much about the character, but I like Christian Bale. Big giant Minotaur shape-shifting people sounds awesome.
It's something that's been in the MCU since the first Iron Man. Rocks on Oil has been part of the MCU forever. It was a big part of Cloak and Dagger as well, but it's been in there since day one. So it makes sense to make that a bigger villain threat now.
Yeah, and he loves doing that. He loves taking things that you thought you'd never see and sort of repurposing them and bringing them back. I think that's
look at the 10 rings. Yeah. I mean, who noticed the 10 rings guy in Ant-Man before Comic-Con? Really?
I know, right? It's crazy.